What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Blood and Beer, the show where we talk blood sport and we drink beer, and we got a PFL special for you. Any chance I can to shit on the PFL, you know I'll take it, so we're doing that pretty much all over this episode. But we got the championships coming up this Friday, so we're going to go over that, just preview the card, let you know what's going to happen, who's going to win, because a lot of the fights, a lot of them seem pretty obvious to me. And then we got some pissed off champs over in PFL, the carryovers from Bellator. They're pissed off. We're going to go over that. And then what the fuck is this card? 10 goddamn, shouldn't say that. 10 motherfucking 5-round fights. It's fucked. We're going to get into it all. But first, the beer we're sipping on. It's a half cab hazy Big Truck Farm Brewery IPA, baby. Try her out. It's alright. It ain't nothing to write home about, that's for sure. But I'm all fucking amped up. I've been watching the Rocky movies with my daughter. We just finished the second one. You know, that's just a feel good. You get fucking pumped at the end of that movie. Especially after the first one, it's kind of a letdown as far as the ending. He loves Adrian, that's great. But we want to see him get the win, and he gets it. I love it. Makes you want to fight someone. Anyways, this card, what the fuck is it? We're gonna, I guess, start with the preview of the card. We're just doing the main PFL Championships because they went and threw MENA on it, which is their African PFL Championship. That's on here as well as other random Russian fighters fighting. But starting off, we got Brendan Loughnane. Really ending things. Brendan Loughnane taking on Tamir Kraziv, and Brendan Loughnane's like I'm plus 300, plus 400 dog for a good reason. He's got the striking advantage as far as technical ability, but Kraziv, he's stronger. I think he has more power in his punches. Loughnane might have some success with low kicks, but if Kraziv gets takedowns early, that's a wrap. Brendan Loughnane has bad takedown defense, honestly. He can't stop the takedowns, and sorry I sound so unmotivated about this card, like I'm just going into the main event like it's nothing, but this card is poorly promoted. PFL doesn't give a shit. Why should you? Why should I? Why should we? But bad takedown defense, Brendan Loughnane. He's a former champ, so he's absolutely got a chance, and he does have one punch knockout power if he catches it clean. It's not every shot, but he can do it. But Kraziv, boring Russian. You could also see him just lay and pray. 5 rounds, easy win. Minus 500 favorite for good reason. Kraziv's taking this no problem. But then we got I think it's a contentious fight. Dakota Ditcheva taking on former UFC title challenger Talia Santos. And Dakota Ditcheva, she won PFL Europe. She's a beast striker. Muay Thai's nasty. She's got pretty good takedown defense. We haven't seen her against the best of the best yet. The best girl she's fought is Jenna Bishop, who isn't that good. She made it to the PFL semifinals on a whim. Their 125-pound division was no good other than Liz Carmouche and Talia Santos and Dakota Ditcheva. She's taking on Talia Santos, though, who fought Valentina Shevchenko. This girl, she's strong. She's got big power in her punches. Her takedowns are very strong. She can just drag girls to the ground, and top control is a problem. When she gets on top, she can find submissions, the ground and pound. This girl's a beast there. And Dakota Ditcheva, she's never been dragged to deep water. She's been finishing everybody early. She's not going to be able to do that to Talia Santos. She has been softballed this whole tournament, and she's a huge favorite coming into this fight. I didn't do a pick'em for this because, fuck. But put the house on Talia Santos. More experienced. I think she's stronger. I don't think that Dakota Ditcheva's striking is going to be a problem for her. She took on Valentina Shevchenko, who, in all respects to Dakota Ditcheva, is light years above her. And I thought Talia Santos won that fight watching it live. Watching it back, maybe Valentina 3-2, but I really thought Santos won it. But she comes to PFL. She's going to win this fight as the big dog. She is. It's just that's what's going to happen. Now we move on to my favorite PFL fighter, Impa Kasanganay. He's taking on Dovlet Yagshimirdov. And this is going to be a striker's delight, I tell you what. Since coming to PFL, Impa Kasanganay, he's undefeated in every fight except for the crossover fight with the Bellator champion Johnny Eblen, which he lost a close fight. He was coming on at the end, But this dude at 205, his gas tank is insane. The pace he puts on fights is insane. He's just always moving forward. He's got a chin on him, and he can knock you out. His power carried up from 185 to 205. He's huge now, but he's still small for the division because he's short, but he's just compact. Dovlet Yagshimuradov, he throws a lot of kicks. He's going to try to snap him from the outside. I think with a guy like Impa Kasanganay, it's not going to work. He's got a good guard. He's got good defense. And Yagshimuradov, he's not throwing kicks to knock you out. Yeah, he can strike, but his kicks set up the striking. He's not a huge wrestler. And Kasanganay, if he did get wrestled, he can stop the takedowns. He's been in there with some of the best. But this dude, Kasanganay, I'm telling you what, we've been riding with him since his fights to get into the tournament last year. He's a defending champion. He's gonna be a 2-time PFL champion after it's all said and done. At 1 p.m. on a gosh darn Friday, motherfuck! I need to stop using the Lord's name in vain. But what are we doing? Black Friday, 1 p.m. You think people are watching this card? People are at work. People are shopping. They're not watching this gosh darn card. Anyways, that's why it's free for ESPN Plus subscribers, and it's why it's mixed in with PFL Mania with 10 5-round fights over in Saudi Arabia, just trying to squeeze them all in because they're out of money from... We'll get into that later. We'll keep going over the fights. The next championship fight, we got the lightweight championship. Former Bellator champion Brent Primus taking on Gadzi Rabadanov, and minus 550 or something for Rabadanov, plus 300 something for Brent Primus. Primus has good kicks. He has good wrestling against guys that aren't Russian and strong as shit. This Rabadanov, I'm not even going to pretend like it's going to be a fight. His punches carry a lot of power. One punch knockout power in every shot he throws. His takedowns are strong as shit, and he's got that wrestling from Russia. He's only chance Primus has, and I shouldn't say only because if it goes into rounds 2 and 3, Rabadanov might start gassing out. He hasn't been in a 5-round fight, and this dude's got carrying a lot of muscle. So Primus has a chance. I'm not going to say this one's no shot for Primus, and it's just books closed, we got it. But at the same time, Rabadanov probably gets it done early. But Primus is a vet. He could stick around. We don't know. I doubt it, though. Needed a big drink for the worst division in PFL, the welterweight division. We got Magomed Umalatov taking on Shamil Musayev. Both these guys undefeated. They're good wrestlers, decent strikers. They're the same. They are the same fighter going against each other. And Shamil Musayev is like a minus 200 something favorite. So put the house on Umalatov. Goodness gracious, good grief. Yeah, put the house on Umalatov. It's a pick'em to me. They're the same gosh darn fighter. So we'll move on to the heavyweight division and the last fight we got to go over before we get to shit on the PFL for a little bit. And you don't want to hear this because I've been shitting on them for the entire year. And before that, I thought they were going downhill and I shit on them a little bit. But this year, really, I've been critical and it's all coming to light now. But anyways, last fight, Oleg Popov taking on Denis Goltsov. Denis Goltsov, the man who's always the bridesmaid, never the PFL champion. He's been runner-up twice, I think, been in the tournament every year, in the semifinals every year. I think Popov's probably a level below. Popov is a level below Goltsov. Everywhere except wrestling, it might be about even. Popov's a little bigger. He might be able to carry the weight more. He might get takedown in some top control, but he's not going to do much there, I don't think. I think we're going to see a TKO by Goltsov from punches or maybe a club and sub, but I doubt that we see a submission. I think we're going to see him kind of hurt Popov on the feet. He's got real crisp technical boxing. He's got power in his hands. They're both kind of light heavyweights moving up to heavyweight, it seems like. But fuck it. That card is absolute dog shit. I mean, to mix two championship bouts together, these guys are going to be waiting in the waiting rooms for absolutely ever, or in the locker rooms. I mean, you got 10 5-round fights. Let's say that most of them go the distance because you got a million Russians on the card. And don't even get me started on the feature fights that aren't championship fights. They're all Russians you never heard of. This is what the problem is with PFL. They're not catering to their fans. They're out of money now, so they can't load it with their stars. They're catering to the Saudis because the Saudis are in their pocket. I don't have a problem with the Saudis spending money. You look at what Turki Al-Sheikh's doing. I've been a big fan of what he's been doing. I've been saying for months this has been great what he's done for boxing, what he's helped the UFC do with the Sphere and everything. But PFL is just an ad revenue company. They care about selling ads. They don't care about putting good fights on to their customers. They say, hey, we already have this ESPN deal. We're just going to run it dry, get ad revenue, and that's it. They don't care about putting on good fights. They don't care about advertising their shit because you didn't know this was on until you watched this. Nobody knew it was on. I knew it was on. I didn't know it was at 1 p.m. on Black Friday. I mean, I'm going to miss most of it, but 10 championship fights, 10 5-round fights, I'll get to see a lot of it. PFL is just in absolute shambles right now, and honestly, let me talk to you. I'm blind as a bat without my glasses, so I can't see my notes, but Patricio Pitbull, he came out. He said, listen, I was supposed to have 3 fights this year. I fought in January, and I haven't fought since. I was supposed to have a fight at the end of the year on our Rising card. That fell through, and instead of finding me a replacement, they just said screw it. So he gets 1 fight this year. Corey Anderson, another guy that's out talking openly about the issues he's having with PFL not getting fights booked. He's a champion, the light heavyweight champion, and he's had 1 fight booked this year. He's a top guy. He's in the top 10 of the. He's in the top 5 of 205ers in the world right now, I think. But he doesn't get a chance to show it because he never gets to fight. Patchy Mix, top 3 bantamweight, maybe top 2. I mean, I could easily see this guy taking out anyone but Merab Dvalishvili and Umar Nurmagomedov. So. And I'm not saying he couldn't take them out. It'd be a great fight because this dude's a savage. His jiu-jitsu, his wrestling, his striking, he's got the whole package. He's fought once this year too. I mean, these guys are all pissed off. And you look at the trend. The other company that a couple years ago was huge, was doing big things in MMA, ONE Championship. What are their champions doing now? You got Demetrius Johnson. He's retiring. He's doing like exhibition BJJ matches and shit. Good for him. Big podcaster. But he's retired. He could have kept fighting. He's got a lot left in the tank. But I don't think ONE has anything for him other than Adriano Moraes, who he beat. You look at Mikey Musumeci, their top BJJ guy. He was headlining cards. He signs with UFC. He says that they're all good over in ONE. He's friends with Chatri and everything's good. But then you look at RDR, former ONE Championship double champ. He was champ at 185 and 205. Went for heavyweight, lost, and then he started losing his belts. But you look at this guy. He comes over to the UFC, starts talking shit about ONE Championship. It's going to be the same thing with PFL. They signed Bellator, or they bought Bellator, and they bought this perfect roster. The one thing PFL was missing was like name recognition in their tournament. By this perfect roster, and I get they had these contractual obligations to keep Bellator going for a while, but they didn't integrate hardly any of the top guys that they could have into the tournament. They could have brought some of these Bellator guys over, made the tournament real interesting. Instead, what they did, they kept the tournament as is with their guys and like 1 or 2 Bellator people. Yeah, we'll throw you in there. You're not going to win, but yeah. So that's what they did with the tournament. Just threw it on the back burner. These super fights is what we care about. So we got fucking Francis Ngannou taking on Renan Ferreira, who proved to be an absolute nobody, taking down ground and pound knockout round 1. You got Chris Cyborg coming over from Bellator. She's taking on Larissa Pacheco. Good fight. That was a good fight, but Cyborg wins. Champion's not doing shit. And then what do you have? On your Champion Series card, you have 2 guys that have only fought Bellator. AJ McKee, Paul Hughes. I mean, it's such a mess what this company is. And the money that they're paying these guys, they can't afford to pay the Bellator guys that are the top guys. They spread themselves too thin. They're doing too many things. The super fight cards, the Bellator Champion Series, the PFL cards. What they need to do, the PFL season cards, I should say. What they need to do, and I've been saying it, they need to condense it all to one. Have Francis be the main event of a championship card. Make the championships 3 rounds. Who gives a fuck? Make them like 3 5-minute rounds. Just people fight all out. It's still $1 million. They're going to go balls to the wall. And if they don't, they're not going to get fucking paid because they didn't win. But if you can make a champion card Champion Series card with 2 champion fights for like your non-regular season stuff with the Corey Andersons, the Patchy Mix. Throw those guys on there. You don't even have to put a belt on the line. Just make it a headliner. Those guys are fun as shit to watch fight. You look a couple years ago at what they were doing. I think that their peak was the last free championship they had before this one. So 2 championships or 3 championships ago. But Ray Cooper fought Derek Brunson. And that card, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but just absolutely stacked top to bottom. You had such good fights. And then the champions fights, you're interested in it because you've been following the season. You got the top guys from PFL. You got the random signees, the Shane Burgos, the Anthony Pettis, that kind of name fighting on the card. PFL doesn't do that anymore because they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about what we want. And you look, if you listen to Don Davis's town hall with MMA Fighting, Mike Heck, he does the town hall with Don Davis, asks him questions. Don Davis says in the interview or in the town hall, he's not a fight fan. He doesn't watch fights. So he doesn't know what the fuck we want. Why are we letting this guy make the decisions? PFL's got, I thought at the beginning of the year, 5 years left. I'm saying 3 or less. They are fucked. Saudi's going to take their money out of there because PFL's not even trying anymore. I mean, they threw this on at 1 p.m. They had to make it free. It was initially going to be $50, but they did such a poor job of showing off that they have a season going in general. I'm fired up. Just to be as on top of the world as you are and then make all these absolute dog shit decisions. What the fuck? Who is in charge of PFL? I know it's Don Davis and he's an idiot. It's just, he's an idiot. Give me your fucking job, dude. It's not hard. We got Francis on there. We got to do what we got to do with Francis. Got to give him his money. We're going to go a little broke doing that. But the PFL season, 2 fights into the season. Let's do 3 fights for the season. 2 fights for 4 guys move on. 3 fights for the season, though. And maybe 2 guys are wild cards. They fight to get that 5th spot or that 4th spot. I don't know. We got to do something different. Or make it a huge thing like Bellator did with 16 people, just a full-on tournament. But you got to change something. What was working for you was this season with all these fucking people nobody heard about that are just fighting their ass off to make $1 million. And then you go and sign all these people for a shit ton of money, and you don't even throw them in your season. You forget about what the whole professional fighters league was about. It's a league. It's not a super fight. It's not a fucking Bellator Champion Series. That shit's done. That contract, the contractual obligations to do Bellator Champion Series has ended. So why are we still doing them? We need to move on. We need to just have a couple showcase fights, have a couple prize fights. Francis Ngannou, advertise him as the lineal heavyweight champion in MMA because you guys have the lineal heavyweight championship. But instead, we want to do Battle of the Giants. We're going to have a big Francis Ngannou fight a 6'9" guy. We're going to do a championship series. But since we lost so much money on the Francis card, we actually got to do 2 championship series on 1 card. So it's going to go for about 13 hours because we have 25 minutes 10 times. So what's that? 250 minutes, 4 hours and 10 minutes of fight time guaranteed, plus all the other fights, plus all the bullshit they got to throw in the middle. And PFL, if you know one thing about them, they're terrible at pacing. So even if there's a bunch of knockouts, they're going to make sure that everybody gets that exact amount of time. So it's going to go 4 hours, 10 minutes for the championships, no matter fucking what, plus the time between rounds, plus the time for the commentators to talk, plus the walkouts, plus the in-ring interviews, which they take 10 minutes to do. It's such a poor promotion. It's been ran into the ground. Just give up. This is the last year where anybody even looked at you seriously. Let's get KSW up there. Let's get Cage Warriors. Someone else. Someone that's not trying to go head-to-head with the UFC when you're just blowing money. You sold 10,000 pay-per-view units. This has just been a shit fest on the PFL. I need to stop it because what's this going to gain? They're not going to change anything. But that's what we got for you. Thank you for tuning in to Blood and Beer. This is the PFL Championship special, I guess. This has been more of a PFL shitfest because they're dog shit. They're fucking up left and right. Thank you for tuning in. And by the way, winner of the drawing, get at me. Comment. You got 7 days to do so. But Shade that commented, we love Noah. So if you're watching this, make sure you reach out to me in the comments. We'll get it sent to you, or Facebook if you have me on Facebook, anywhere, X, Blood Beer Matt. Reach out to me. Just comment on this video. We'll figure out a way to get you this shirt, that shirt. And yeah, that's all I got for you. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Matt with Blood and Beer.